gross profit, operating profit, net profit, and there's this thing called current year earnings, which is actually related to all of them. If you're finding this all a bit confusing, then this video is for you. We're going to go through and have a look at each of these individually, what they mean, where they come from, and how you can work on it to improve your bottom line in your business. Hey small business owners, it's Brad Flynn here. And look, profit is an essential part of our business. At the end of the day, it's what we all go into business for, is to make more profits, to give us more cash. But this is where it can get really confusing. So if you're interested in finding out more tips to help your small business, subscribe down below and let's rip into all the different levels of profit. First of all, let's start with gross profit. And I don't mean that kind of profit. This profit refers to the top part of your profit and loss, that is your total sales or income for your business, minus the cost that you incurred to get those sales. In other words, the products or the time that you sold to be able to actually turn those profits into your business. And look, quite simply, gross means without deductions. In fact, this is my go-to question whenever I'm talking to a new business owner and trying to understand how their finances are working in their business. I'll ask them, so tell me, what is your gross profit percentage running at for your business right now? Can you answer that question? Here's how you work it out. Essentially, our gross profit is the gross of all the little profits that we make from all of the sales in our business. It lumps them all together. What we want to understand then is as a percentage of our sales. If we have $100,000 in sales and our cost of goods was $20,000, 100 minus 20 gives us $80,000. So our gross profit is $80,000. As a percentage, that's $80,000 divided by 100,000 gives us 80%. Now, why this gross profit metric is so important is it gives you a means to compare to other businesses in your industry. This is like the benchmark that we need to be able to see how we're going compared to other businesses. If we're low, how do we start to step up and improve? And then if we're doing all right, it's a bit of a sense of relief. We can relax that we know we're on the right path. Generally speaking, if your business is really good at what it does and doesn't have many competitors, you're going to have a higher gross profit. Your gross profit can be dragged down by having too much competition with those around you. Next, let's move on to the operating profit. Operating profit refers to the profit we have after our operating expenses have been covered. And it's calculated by our gross profit minus our operating expenses, sometimes also called OPEX or fixed expenses. This is also a handy metric to compare ourselves to other businesses. Depending on which country you're in, maybe the government has some information for you on this, or maybe other industry associations can give you feedback on where you need to be sitting for your OPEX. Now, I want you to keep in mind, this is really important. This is before we get to any of the tax sort of things. Let's move into the tax side of things next. Net profit. And the best way to remember this is it's the net at the bottom of your business that catches everything after all of your other deductions and so forth have been taken into account. It is your operating profit minus any of the expenses that don't relate to the operation of your business, including tax, to give you what falls through to the bottom of your business, and it's called your net profit for that reason. Now, a sneaky little thing that's going to help you understand a bit more about your financial statements is if you go to your balance sheet, right down the bottom of the balance sheet under the equity section, you're going to see a line that says current year earnings. Now, what you're going to notice is that number is exactly the same as the operating profit number on your business. That's one of the ways that we connect the profit and loss statement to the balance sheet. If you haven't seen some of my other videos on balance sheet and how to understand all this, you can have a look down below. Subscribe. I'll be doing more business videos on balance sheets coming up in the next little while. So let's put it all together with a simple example. In this example, let's say we sell widgets. Technical term for some kind of product that you can hold and sell to your customer. If we go back to those numbers that I started with, we had $100,000 in sales and it cost us $20,000 in widgets. So we bought $20,000 worth of widgets. So our gross profit for that business is $80,000, which is 80%. Now we look at all the things apart from the actual cost of the goods that are involved with getting our product, our widget, out into the marketplace. These are what we call our operating expenses. These are expenses we pay whether we get a sale or not. So rent, utility bills, mobile phones, cellular phones, insurances, all of those sorts of costs that we pay regardless of if we get a sale or not. So in our example, let's say we have a business that has got fixed expenses of $50,000. Now, your operating profit equals your gross profit, which we said was $80,000, minus our fixed expenses or our operating expenses, which we said was $50,000, giving us $30,000 in operating profit. Next, you've got to work out what you're going to be taxed. And this is where you can talk to your accountant. But essentially, each country has different rules for how you're taxed, and that operating profit part makes up part of the calculation that we're going to use to look at your calculation for how much tax you've got to pay. So let's say our tax rate is 20%. So we're going to pay 20% of our operating profit, which we've just calculated was $30,000. 20% of $30,000 is $6,000. So that will be the tax that we pay. 30,000 minus 6,000 gives us 24,000 net profit figure, which is what falls down to the bottom, and that's what we catch at the bottom, our net profit. So hopefully this helps to clear up for you some of the things that are happening around all the different profits in your business. It can be confusing. Keep watching for more videos down below. Subscribe, and if you've got any suggestions or tips or feedback or things that you'd like to learn more about, please comment. We'd love to get your feedback.